What's the average net worth by age? Does it even matter? Where do you stack up? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Not sure if you're a daily listener and watcher of the Wise Money YouTube channel. I'm right now recording this and it's airing in January of 2024. And it's a good time if you've got your financial checklist for the start of a new year. Updating your net worth should be on that checklist. And hopefully it's something that you've done already or plan to do this month. Why is that important? Why is it important to add up all of your assets? And we categorize those. I'd want to know how much of your assets do you have just sitting in cash? How much do you have in retirement investments? How much do you have in real property? And how much do you have in personal property? So adding up all of those assets, and here's why that's important. Cash has a very specific purpose in your overall financial life, okay? It's not there to make you rich. It's designed to make sure you don't go poor. So what's your emergency fund or cash reserve goal? And then sustaining that on an ongoing basis. Retirement assets of those different categories, unless you own a business or whatnot, retirement assets, those are the areas, those are the assets that tend to appreciate the most over time. Do they appreciate every day? No, of course not. Do they appreciate every year? Well, that's also no. Most years they do, and over a long period of time. That, if the design is to grow the amount of assets, grow your overall net worth, you want to get as much money in that category as possible so that those dollars can grow for you. Real assets, your own house or other properties you may own, they tend to keep up with inflation. They can be a good store of value, so monitoring that as well. And then real assets, up until recently, that area declined in value. Those assets depreciated. Vehicles and boats and RVs, those sorts of things tend to depreciate in value, but you need them, they're necessary, and they might be some of the enjoyment that you get out of life as well. So categorizing there. So listing out all of those assets and then listing out your liabilities as well. And you probably want to categorize those to short-term credit cards, long-term mortgage, right? So adding up all your assets, subtracting out your liabilities gets you to your net worth. Why do that right now? We're at the end of a year, at the beginning of a year. And it's important to at least update that once a year so you can see, well, where am I? Where do I stand financially? How much do I have in cash? How much do I have in retirement? Am I paying down debt? And then compare that to where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago to see if you're making progress. Other thing is then to compare yourself, well, here's where I am today. I'm hoping to be somewhere else in the future, right? I want to have more saved up in cash in the future, or I want to have less liabilities in the future, so you can see where you stand compared to where you want to be. And this falls right into the trap here, guys, because I saw this article recently, a survey, and this is from a couple years ago. New data should be out actually sometime later this year, but the average net worth by age, okay? And I've shared before, it can steal your joy if you compare yourself to these averages or these surveys, because that's comparing your unique and specific financial situation to a whole bunch of other people. And the only thing in common you might have is age. But other than that, your circumstances are completely different. So you should have, there's really no benefit in seeing where you are compared to this average. What's most important is comparing to where you are financially to where you were. Are you making progress? And where you want to be? What progress do you need to keep making? That is the most important. And yet, I take the bait, and we get this question all the time. How am I doing? How am I doing compared to others? And so I thought this might be helpful to at least look at. The big takeaway though, update your net worth for right now, compare it to where you've been, compare it to where you want to go. All right, well, let's take a look at the data here. And there's actually two ways of looking at it. I'm not going to get too geeky, but there's the average, and that is just, the average, adding up everyone's, dividing it by the total number of people that you added up, and that's where you get the average. But then there's the median. And the median is, okay, we're going to throw out the lowest and we're going to throw out the highest. Then we'll throw out the second lowest, second highest, third lowest, third highest, and so on. And the reason why, you're going to see the data here in just a second, the reason why the data is showing both of those is the median actually throws out a lot of outliers, okay, which is which is probably helpful, okay? You're gonna see a very big difference in these numbers here. I would argue also that, yeah, if you're trying to compare to other people, the median in this example might be better, but again, dangerous to compare anyway. All right, so this data was actually pre-COVID, 2019. They update it every 3 years or so we should get this data later in this year. I'll probably do an update for you here on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But the average, just the sum of all of the parts divided by the number of people that answered the survey, the average is actually a lot higher than what I expected. And then let's just say, 35 to 44, because under 35, you just throw that out. 35 to age 44, almost $500,000. And when you include cash, when you include your retirement accounts, when you include your house, almost $500,000. Now this is pre-COVID and some of the housing value surge there. 55 to 64, over $1 million. The average person is technically a millionaire. Wow. 65 to 74, 1.2 million, 75 and above, about $1 million. Those were high, that's higher than what I expected. And so that's where, again, the article makes a distinction between average and median. And yeah, I think that's important to look at. So let's take a look at median. Much different numbers here, much different. So age 35 to 44, less than 100,000 if you are stripping out those outliers. 55 to 64, I know I'm jumping that middle group there, but those kind of closest to retirement, just 200,000. Those in retirement, 65 to 74, 266,000, age 75 and over, about $250,000. So that's when you strip out the outliers. Okay, so where do you stack up? It doesn't matter. So I hope where you stack up makes you feel good. And if where you stack up doesn't make you feel good, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I would encourage you, your action step is to update your overall net worth right now, and then don't tell anyone about it, because it's your own personal situation. This isn't for pride or for bragging or to make you feel disappointed or bad about some financial mistakes you've made. We've all made financial mistakes. The big idea is so that you can get a record. So clearly see where are you at financially. So much of our financial life is disintegrated. This makes it tangible on one sheet of paper, or on one Excel sheet, on one document. We've got a financial planning tool that we use for clients. We can see it right there, their entire financial life right there on one screen. And now you can start to see how all the pieces fit together. That in and of itself sometimes reveals some opportunities. But that's where you stand today. Compare it to the last time you updated this, which hopefully was a year ago. Maybe it was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. And maybe looking back even further is more helpful. Because that daily grind of having the right habits, saving up, sometimes that can be number one, just a frustration. And number two, there are times when you're doing the right thing financially, but your net worth is actually going down because asset values have dropped or something like that. So looking back, figuring out where you are today, looking back, and then 2, using that to help project out, well, where should I be going? What path am I on? What are my goals? Those things your CFP should be working with you on. And therefore, work with them on that. And if you don't have a CFP on your team that's helping you with these things and all areas of your financial life, all 6 areas of your financial life, you can contact a CFP on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well. Or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.